everybody, and welcome to this week's Facebook Live, which is all about helping our children to worry less. And right now, everybody's anxiety and worry is, up there. It's really increased at the moment, and naturally so. It's unprecedented times at the moment, and I can completely understand why, even as adults, we're worried. But just remember that kids pick up on that. Kids will pick up on what's going on in your home, from other people that they're interacting with, even if it's online. For the simple reason, you don't even have to be talking about it. You don't have to have conversations about it. You remember yourself. You picked up on what was said in the house, or even what wasn't said in the house. The underlying tensions and facial expressions and body language that we all use. So just be aware of that. So if you're trying to, if you have a worried or anxious child, we have to watch what we're doing as well. And remaining calm ourselves, particularly around the children, is very, very important. Now, I'm not saying you have to be unrealistic about it, but you have to be aware of that. And they need a lot of reassurance right now. And we're going to talk about that. So also included in that is our own behaviour, and I do go into a lot of steps pre the 8 strategies, talking about things we can do for us, and we have to be aware of when we're trying to tackle anxiety and depression with children. So managing our own stresses and our own anxiety, because the kids will pick up on that. So if you feel you need help, I have to say to you, please, please, please do reach out. There's an awful lot of psychologists and psychiatrists and counsellors out there, all working online to help people at the moment. So think about that. Think about what you're doing, and I go through a list of things in the blog that you might find helpful, some tips at the start before I talk about the strategies. So in saying all that, if you think your child is stressed or anxious, don't force the conversations. That's my first, and that's really is vital, because if you try and force conversations with children and teens, just because you want the answer and you want to find out what the answer to the problem is and what's going on underneath, and we do need to do a bit of investigation, but we can't force that. We can't force them to tell us what's going on. Allow it to come up, reassuring them and saying, I'm here for you, I love you, if there's anything worrying you, and you keep saying it. They need to hear that over and over and over again. You kind of have to get a bit like an old tape, keeping going about it, and allow then the conversations to come up naturally. And usually they will happen at the most unexpected times. You're doing the dishwasher or something, and a teen will start talking to you then, because you're side to side rather than face to face. Because particularly with teens, a confrontation this way, they feel it's confrontational, so they'll back away. You don't want to. You want to encourage them to talk to you. So constant reassuring. And once they start to talk, or even before they start to talk, I should say, listen, always be listening, always keep the lines of communication open. That is vital, particularly with teens. Even when you're only getting the grunt, and we do go through that stage as teens where it's, you don't guess, you get the yes, no, and then you get the grunt. It's not unusual for you to get that, and I think we've all gone through that. So, but you keep asking them how their day is going. You keep asking them about the things they're interested in, and even if you're only getting the yes, no, and the grunt response, keep the lines of communication open, because they're picking up on that. They're picking up on that, and tell them you love them. Keep reassuring them. Keep those lines of communication open. It is vital. And in saying all that, if you have a stressed or worried child, or if something else is going on, I remember my own children with disabilities when they were growing up. It can get tough for a parent at times. There are times when you feel, I'm too exhausted, I'm too tired. But you have to keep going. Unfortunately, we have to keep going, but we reach out and we get support when we do that. Never give up. Um, and but if you're struggling, that's what I'm saying to you. You need to get help. You need to reach out and join a support group. If you have a child with a disability, join an online group to do with that. At the moment, an awful lot of the groups have gone online. Even I know that the likes of AA and all those group meetings, they've all gone online. So if something that is an issue for you, then go and reach out for help online as well as in person when things revert back. So just to say about what's going on at the moment with the pandemic, it is not unusual, even during normal times, if a child has anxiety or stress, for them to revert back. So, a word of warning about teens and older children. They can revert back to an earlier stage when they're stressed and worried. And right now, more than ever, you might find that even an older child or a teen has reverted back. I've said this before, kids can start wetting the bed and things like that, even if you think, oh, they're too big for that. But that's not unusual. That is the stress and the anxiety and the worry that it's coming out that way. So, be aware of that it's not unusual for kids to revert back a developmental stage. It's not permanent. It's just their way of coping with what's going on in their lives. And the other thing I'd say to you is, with an older child or a child that seems a bit more advanced, with a teen in particular, we tend to expect an awful lot of them. We tend to expect more of an older child or a teen. But always remember that just because the body is growing and developing at such a speed, their brains are not. Their brains are developing much more slowly. So their coping skills, their cognitive functions, everything like that, all the development going on up in the brain, doesn't catch up with the body until they're about 26, 27. That's just the way it is. So please be patient as you would with a frustrated toddler. Be as patient with, the teen or the older child, because we know from research that teens tend to mimic the developmental stages of the temper tantrum 2s and 3s and the difficult stages, because they're frustrated. They're trying to push away from you, just like that toddler did to move on a stage. They push away from us. So be aware of all that. The teen is doing exactly the same thing. They're pushing away in order to grow up. So that can, cause a problem, and friction between parents and children. So just be aware of all that is there. And the other thing I want to say to you is always, always, always trust your gut. If you think this is there's something underlying this, and you think, no, this is something else, get it investigated. Don't wait. Even now, don't wait. You either contact your GP or your main doctor and have a chat with them on the phone. They're still there. The emergency services as well, remember, they're still operating. If you think this cannot wait, don't wait. Never wait. Go and trust your gut and act on it. Don't let other people put you off. As a parent, you know your child best, so trust your instincts. Now, let's get into the 8 strategies I was talking about. And the first one I mentioned is meditation. Now, it doesn't have to come in the form of sitting down and getting them to meditate, a form of meditation. It can be just as simple as teaching them, if you already do yoga or Tai Chi or something you already do, you can explain it to an older child, you can explain it to a teen, what it's about, why we're doing this. We're teaching you how to relax. It calms down the mind. It'll help with the worrying thoughts. It'll help with your anxiety. So if you can teach them meditation or get them to use a meditation app, age appropriate, of course, or get them to do children's yoga or something like that, and if you already do it, I do recommend that you teach it to them if you can. I know there are a lot of apps and a lot of music, things related to music and that are used to do calming kids and things like that. That is actually an excellent book if you can get your hands on it. Calming Kids, I think is the name of it, but I will find out if it's not. And you can, there are different techniques in that book to teach children how to meditate and how to calm down, and a lot of activities to do with that. The other thing to do is, the next tip I say, is to get moving. Get them moving because with the anxiety and the worry, it's the fight, flight, or fright mode. So the adrenaline is pumping through their body, and we need to get that dispelled. So, we need them to get that burning off. Now, I know at the moment we're still restricted. I know that's moving out to 5 kilometres in Ireland on Monday. And of course, we have to use our social distancing and wear our face mask. So, get them out walking, but even get them out in the back garden kicking a ball. Something that gets them physically active. So if they normally take part in a sport, and they haven't been able to do that lately, getting out and getting them out in the back garden, and doing stuff like that, or even taking them for a walk, will help. That will get the blood pumping, get the movement going, and help to move on that adrenaline. And then also remember, it's not always about the active stuff too. They need a balance, so they need time to switch off. And I know people are stressed out trying to do homeschooling, and I'd say to you, please, you're doing your best, relax. Every child in the country is the same at the moment. All parents are struggling to get their kids homeschooled. So just relax about the homeschooling. Use other things. If you're having a bad day, then okay, have a switch off day. Let the homework go. Let the schoolwork go for that day. Do other things. Cooking, gardening are all great ways to teach them. You're teaching them English, you're teaching them science, you're teaching them maths, you're teaching them an awful lot by doing even those two activities with them. Housework, all life skills, by the way, as well. So think outside the box. It doesn't have to be sitting down and doing the subjects on paper, or doing whatever it is. You can expand that out and use other activities to teach them. But as I said, they need time to switch off. So look for activities that they enjoy doing. It's a balance, yes, they can watch TV, but balance it out. Reading, listening to their music, talking to their friends online. They need that balance. They need time to switch off the head and just relax, as well as getting out moving. The next thing I say talk to you about is having a good consistent routine. Now, with somebody that's anxious and has worry, a consistent routine every single day, Monday to Sunday, is important. So getting up at the same time, going to bed at the same time, having a bedtime routine, and I've talked about that before. All of that is very, very important for somebody with stress and anxiety. It's consistency. To have consistent days, that is going to be very, very important for them. So try and make sure that they do have those, that they have that Monday to Sunday, not just Monday to Friday. Okay, you're a bit more relaxed at the weekend, but try and keep it quite, very consistent throughout the week. The next thing I talk about is to show them how to make a worry list and do some reframing. Now, I'm not going to go into that because there's actually 7 steps in the blog. It's quite detailed on how to make a worry list, and then all the different steps down, including helping them to reframe how they're thinking, including problem solving, and to get them on board, an older child and a teen on board, and teach them how to problem solve. And I go through all that in detail in the blog, which you can check out at www.DeborahByrnePsychologyServices.com, and I'm linking it in the description as well. So the next thing to look at is diet. And why I'm talking about diet now, I'm not a GP and I'm not a nutritionist or a dietitian, but the ones that are normal spring to mind are, one is allergies. Is there allergies? Sometimes there can be an intolerance, not a full-blown allergy. It can be just a slight intolerance. So how is that affecting them? Again, I said to you about keeping, doing a bit of an investigation and maybe keeping a notebook and tracking different things. Is there something causing it? So is it an allergy? Are they getting enough protein? Because they do need a certain amount of protein, so you have to check into that. Are they getting enough protein? And the other thing is sugar levels. Sugar levels, if your sugar levels, are fluctuating, it can mimic anxiety symptoms. So, and how it manifests in the body. So if it drops, we can get a sugar drop, and we get that mimic of anxiety symptoms in the body. So watch that. Is there a problem with sugar? Are they getting too much sugar? And then they're getting the slump, and then they're getting all the symptoms, or is it a problem with sugar? So we have to be careful around that, careful around insulin and things like that. So that may be something that needs to be investigated by the GP. The next tip I talk about is reassurance. Again, I talked about this earlier in this video. So reassuring them, listening to them, talking to them about anything. We're not forcing the conversations. We're talking about other things and allowing the conversation with regards to the anxieties and the worries to come up. So you talk about everything. You help them raise the positivity in other ways, and that's part of that 7-tip strategy of reframing the mind around the worry and anxiety. Because with worry and anxiety, in particular, and depression, but we tend to narrow our focus, and we only see the negatives in life. It kind of rewires the brain that we focus down too much on the negative. We don't see the positive. So reminding them of the positives, talking about their day, how it went, what was the good things. Even if you keep a notebook of highlights so that you can remember those and you can point them out to them, it's a good idea to do that. And that's important, that you're reassuring them and that you're pointing out the positives to them, because when we're worried and anxious and depressed, we don't actually see those. We just don't see it. It's just part of the makeup of these problems. We just don't see it. And the next one I talk about is, and I think it's the last one, is to use distraction. So this is healthy distractions. So again, you of course listen, you of course reassure if they're talking about a problem, but then maybe at the end of it, toward the way if it starts to peter out, the conversation starts to peter out, then to take them for a walk. Use that distraction to relax them a little bit, to take their mind off things. Get them to kick a football if that's what they're into. Get them to kick a football in the back garden. Get out and kick it with them, or even get out, bring a cup of tea with you, sit down outside and watch them. Oh, show me that goal again. Show me that, how you did that skill. Get them to show you how they use whatever it is, skills or activities that they do in their team. If there's some sort of a lot of kids that play football will have dribbling skills, and they'll teach them different techniques. So get them to show you those techniques. It takes their mind off it. If use gardening again, get them involved, get them growing their own little vegetable patch, get them to cook, get them to help you do the dinner that night. Even sitting down and watching whatever the show is with them, that particular show, for half an hour or an hour. Watching a movie together, cuddled up on the sofa, duvet, cover yourselves up with a duvet. It's quite comforting, that it's nurturing and quite comforting to do that. But it also allows them to get lost in the storyline of the film or the TV show, or a book, using a book on tape, music, dancing around the kitchen, things like that. Healthy habits that we can use to distract ourselves. So think about that. There are more ideas with regards to that, again, in the blog. So remember that I have quite a number of blogs and videos like this. At this point, there's nearly 200 of those up there, and quite a lot of them are to do with parenting, mental health in children, and parenting teens and kids. They're all up on the website, which you can find at www.deborahbyrnepsychologyservices.com. And also remember, with regards to yourself as an adult, as a woman, as a mum, I have my book, The Building Blocks of Self-Care, which can help you with. But I also have a free group for mums, and I'm putting the link in the description below. So if you are struggling and you need to reach out, it's there. It's you know, we have quite a number of units in there at this stage that you can start off with and you can use to de-stress. It's all about de-stressing ourselves, taking back control of our anxiety and that. So if you're a mum and you want to join the group, please do come along and do that. And as always, good morning to everybody who's watching live, including Deirdre. And thank you very much for anybody who watches, because I know there's quite a substantial amount of people who watch this in replay, and thank you for that. And good morning. And there'll be a new blog on Monday, which is all about embracing failure as a positive, trying to get our reframing going there on you know, from negative to positive. So there's quite a number of questions in that you can use to help yourself reframe what we see as failure. So check that out on Monday, but I'll be back on next Saturday to talk all about that next Saturday morning. So I will see you all then, and please stay safe and have a good week.